right, so good evening, everyone. Welcome to this initial meeting of the Fairfield Committee on Energy Initiatives. Let's all stand or whatever you do, and let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I didn't even have to look it up that time. So I guess we take a roll call. So John Kuhn is here. Peter Britton.
Here.
Michelle McCabe.
Here.
And Bill Gerber is here.
Here.
Okay. And Jeff Steele is not in attendance tonight. Okay. So tonight I just wanted to do a couple of things. I think administratively we need to elect officers. So we'll do that first thing. And then just kind of a little discussion about some of the things that I've been thinking of and the way and direction I think I'd like to take this committee, and maybe get some thoughts from others as well. So I guess for the first thing we'll do is we'll take nominations for a chair of the committee.
I nominate John Kuhn to chair.
I second.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Michelle. Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we'll have to ask him if he will accept the role. John, will you accept the role? Yes, I'll accept the role.
Okay, very good.
Okay, vice chair. Do we have any nominations for vice chair?
I would nominate Michelle McHale.
Oh goodness, no, that's not fair, Peter. I think it should be someone from the other side of the aisle. We should nominate Jeff.
Yeah,
I was kind of thinking the other side of the aisle as well. I mean, do you think Jeff would accept Peter?
Honestly, I'd be 50-50 on that, John. He's got a lot of stuff going on. But
will you be vice chair, Peter?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is a big title.
I think it would be great.
Oh dear. Well, I don't know what I'm doing yet, so I guess
I'm chair and I don't know what I'm doing. So
well, blind leading the blind. Okay.
Perfect.
Sure, I'll be vice chair if you would like that.
All right.
So I'm going to I'll make a motion to nominate Peter Britton for vice chair.
Second.
I will second that. All those in favor?
First.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Yeah, I guess kind of.
Congratulations, Peter.
Thank you. I feel honored.
All right, and then we'll need a secretary. Can I take nominations for secretary?
Well, Jeff is the Robert's Rules expert, so I nominate Jeff.
All right.
I second.
No. Is that right? Oh, God.
I don't know if he's going to love that one. How about you, Michelle? Would you do it, Michelle?
I'll do it.
All right, I withdraw my nomination for Jeff, and I nominate Michelle McCabe.
Okay. I'll second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? And Michelle didn't oppose, so.
I'm just going to have to take really good notes.
There you go.
So we have our officers. Great. So I guess since we're in sort of an administrative stage, I think for the next meeting, what I was looking at is Thursday, September 21st. 6 o'clock the right time for it?
I have to say 6 o'clock is not a really good time generally for me.
Okay.
Later is much better because I need to get dinner on the table and all of that stuff. So I would prefer 7:30 if that's possible.
How about the other way? Like 5?
Can we do it? How about if we do it at 6 at your house, Michelle, and you feed us dinner?
Oh my gosh, that's such a great idea. Except that it isn't. Are we going to have our next meeting in person?
We should, honestly, John. I would suggest that. I think it's
great. Let's do that then. I think that my guess is that the folks that I'll get to that I'm going to look to put onto our agenda, they're not nearby, so they'll probably come in via WebEx. But yeah, I'm happy to meet in person. So would 7 work, Michelle? Or is that too early?
7 should be okay. So we're looking at Thursday, September 21st at 7 p.m.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on a second. Let me check my calendar here.
Yeah, I'm looking at the town calendar. I might want to check mine at the same time.
What time would we do it? At 7, you say? Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
That should be all right. I got an event that day, but it should be over by 7. So.
Okay. All right,
I'm just checking my. I have to just check another calendar to be absolutely certain. I'm putting myself on mute until I get back to a quiet place.
All right, let's just tentatively say 7 p.m. on the 21st. I mean, we're not trying to, herd 1,000 cats. So if we need to make some changes to that, I think that's probably okay. Yes?
That works.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Sounds good.
Are we?
All right.
I know that our charge brings us to the end of December. Are we expecting to meet on a monthly basis, or are we not sure yet?
I think tentatively what we'll say is, meet on a monthly basis. I think our charge was actually to deliver something to the RTM. That was prior to the election. Oh no, are we still in office through the end of December?
No.
Oh
no.
I don't know. But I know. Yeah, I don't know.
I think when you get elected, if you get elected out, John, Bill, you probably know you get it.
Yeah.
On November 7th, if you get elected out, you're out.
I think it's like the swearing-in day. So I can't remember what day that is. It's probably like a couple weeks. It's never really been an issue for RTM because we don't meet or do anything in that period. But it may be like the 21st or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, all right. Yeah, a couple weeks after. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's put it this way. We'll meet the 21st. We'll come up with a date for October, and whether or not we continue, we'll clarify that, or I will clarify that by the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Great.
Okay. So I think you guys maybe remember kind of what drove me to start this, which was that the utilities, just their egregious increases in rates. And so I've been kind of trying to think of ways to mitigate that for, the citizen ratepayers here in town. But it's also expanded a bit further, and I know that like the schools have a lot of expenditures coming up for the HVAC systems, and I also got interested in some things related to that. And so I think that the idea here is I'd like to make this more strategic and proactive rather than, I know that there's this recent issue of UI building giant electric utility poles on the train tracks and whether or not to do that. But, and maybe that's something once we're more settled we can get into, but that seems a little bit more reactive than what I think I'd like this to do. My big bugaboo that you may recall from some of the meetings earlier was community energy aggregation. I think that's, that kind of is a topic that had a moment in Connecticut about 3 years ago, but seems to be coming back. And community aggregation, Peter, I don't know if you recall what I had talked about with that, but that's essentially a way for towns to act as the purchasing agent for the residents and creating savings, not so much by bulk purchasing, but more by being very nimble purchaser in the marketplace. There are different flavors of that, some which are of the community aggregation, some of which, and I'm going to get into territory that I'm not fully conversant with yet, but one of the guys that I'd like to come talk to us is, and that is that there's sort of like a more passive variety, which Massachusetts has, and then there's a more active variety that California and New Hampshire is the most recent state in the union to adopt this. And I think there's 14 or 15 states in the union. You need to be a deregulated state in order to adopt it. You need to have it adopted at the state level and also at the local level. So kind of touching on that a little bit more, one of these guys, Peter Millman, that I want to try and get to speak at our next meeting, he was the driving force behind trying to push that back 2-3 years ago. And I think he got a little bit cynical about that, but he knows a whole lot about it, and I've been talking with him recently about the topic, and he's willing to speak with us. Now, that's maybe a little bit more down the road. Another topic that Peter and I have been speaking about, which is probably a little bit more current and directly potentially impacting the HVAC situation with the schools, is something called networked geothermal. And basically what that is that's taking heat out of, or it's using ground source to heat or cool the buildings. And I think that, it's got a lot of benefits in that it's a lot cheaper to run, more expensive to install. So there may be a cost-benefit analysis on that. Peter can talk to us more about that. I know that he was telling me about a program that Eversource is doing up in Massachusetts, which is a geothermal program, and I don't know if that's something we can do that broadens its application to not just the schools but to maybe other town aspects as well. Which brings me to another area, which is microgrids, and I was speaking with another gentleman, Michael Ewell, who I will also try and get to speak to us at the next meeting, who was really advocating these microgrids, and maybe there's something we can do where we encompass the downtown area and weave it on up through Tomlinson and the Ludlow schools, and try and do something there as a way of cheapening the costs and having a better ability to more control over the power. So those are some of the ideas, broad brush, that I've been meandering about on that I think could be beneficial to the town. I don't know if you guys have any questions, comments, or any other areas that you guys. I know, Michelle, you want to cover some kind of. I'm going to leave it to you. I know it's like.
Is it anaerobic digest?
Yes.
Anaerobic digesting.
Yes. Which is also an area that I think we should look at, since I think with the digester that we have, there might be some tie-in.
Yeah. Yep.
There is. I mean, we actually use methane from that to power the part of the plant, but a lot of it gets wasted. We talked about that on the tour. You know, there's a flame burning off, 24/7, I think. And I asked him, is there anything more we could do with that? And he said, they actually bought some equipment to try to do something more with it, but it just never. He said it's tricky, and you end up like going through generation, facilities like really fast. Like they don't last that long. But you would have to get like John Bodie or someone else in to talk about it. But I do have. Can I just are we going to look at? I was just trying to think through like what are the general buckets of things that we should look at so we stay focused. I'm thinking like one's cost. You mentioned cost, and I guess another is resiliency, which is would that be the microgrid sort of cost and resiliency? Maybe.
And I think the geothermal would get in that resiliency category as well.
Right.
And also. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
So it's like, would it be those three things, or is there anything else, like any other buckets?
What are the three? So I got cost and resiliency.
Cost, resiliency, and impact on the environment, like.
Okay.
Green, I guess.
Yeah. Now, when you say cost, we're looking at the cost of energy.
Yeah. So, like John, has looked at community energy aggregation, and there have been some places that have managed to do that at a lower cost. So, yeah.
So I guess it would be kind of like the cost-benefit analysis of the. So what I'm hearing you say is that we are looking at. We've listed off 4 options to explore, and we are going to be looking at them through the lenses of, one, a cost-benefit analysis. What are the savings versus the cost of implementation and maintenance? 2, resiliency for Fairfield in the face of whatever it might be, most likely extreme weather events, climate change, but also growth in population, different, changes in density, all of that. And then the third lens is whether the options that we're looking at have a positive impact on the environment / our green options versus polluters anyway, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Right, and community energy aggregation, as John Kuhn has taught me, some nice things about that is like different municipalities will decide how much green energy they want to buy for those CCAs, and so like some might do it just for the cost, and some might do it for. Or actually, I think different people can pay for different proportions of green. If they want to go green, they can pay for more green. So it's an interesting model.
Mm.
Well, you get into solar and wind, right? When you start talking green and
yeah. So we definitely need to do solar, right? Because that's like I don't even know what our inventory is in town of all the solar, and we probably have fuel. I think we have fuel cells, and we do have some microgrids, and we should probably ask the guys in charge of DBW or engineering, I like to do an inventory so we know what we have.
So this, if I can jump in just real quick, the question, John, that comes to mind right from the get-go for me is, are we working in conjunction or in any capacity with UI on all of this, or are we not?
I guess I would view them as outside of the scope of what we're doing, maybe necessary partners at times. The utilities tend not to be very favorably inclined towards the CCA, but I don't want to just say full stop that we would never work with UI. For example, I mentioned that the geothermal, the network geothermal program that Eversource is doing up in Massachusetts. Hey, if something makes sense like that with UI here, might be the right thing that we try and pursue.
Okay. So,
but John, by definition, if you, sorry.
Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, by definition, if you do a solar project, you're working with UI, right? Because in Connecticut, it goes back to them, right? You don't. So
the net metering.
Yeah, by definition, you sort of have to work with them, right? For a lot of the things we'll be looking at.
I would suspect that we're going to need them in some sort of capacity to.
Right.
At least, be, to, we don't want to make them our enemies, much as I'm not a fan of them, but, they're a necessary part of the equation.
Yeah, exactly. So on that note, because you get these bills and things, and when you're talking to UI, they always seem to offer up an alternative energy provider, right, as part of their. Where does that fit in our game here? Would that be something again that I've never done that, right? Because
you can
pay
do
the
that.
friggin' bill.
Right. The community energy aggregation is kind of like that, but on a large scale. So instead of you remembering each month or whatever time picking a provider or a marketer, somebody else is doing it for you as you being part of the program. So you don't have to remember each month or whatever to, pick your cheaper provider. Nor do you end up getting locked in, even though you're technically not locked in. They like to tell you, if you lock in with us for 12 months, your price will be this. In reality, according to the Pura people, they can't lock you in at all.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I've never done that. I don't know how that works. So I don't know if it's worth exploring that or just for me, certainly to learn more about, what that alternative is, just in terms of if we're looking for alternatives here, cost benefits, resiliency, all that environment, and it's different ways in which for us to generate this energy, right? And it's kind of the overriding picture here.
Right. I think it's worth looking into, just for your own edification, and maybe you'll glean something from it, which is useful as we sort through some of these things.
Okay, I'm happy to sort of take that on if that's one thing that we just would be good to know more about. I'm not sure how I do that, but I know there's there are, right, there are those alternatives, and I don't know what they are. So, if we're going to come in with alternatives, then we should know what they're currently putting out there as options.
Yeah.
Right, and
just so we don't duplicate, right, John? We don't want to duplicate what they're if they're doing.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
Let's see.
Okay.
So I think So the people I'm going to try and schedule for our next meeting are Peter Millman, Michael Ewell, and this guy Gary Sassy, who's also interested in doing a CCA, but he is an energy consultant, and he's been working a lot with West Hartford on a variety of different projects.
My hometown.
Oh, is it really? It's mine too.
Yeah.
So I feel a kinship there, and
right.
I'm sure you would agree with me that, well, maybe you won't, but I feel like Fairfield is West Hartford, but we have beaches instead of pools.
Yeah. No, that's it's a good town. If you look at all the demographics and everything of the state of Connecticut, West Hartford's right up there.
Yeah.
A place,
Wait, you
place
grew
to
up
live
there,
and all that.
Peter?
Yep.
Peter, you grew up in
sure did.
Oh wow. What I've got to play the name.
Born in Hartford Hospital and grew up in West Hartford. Yeah.
I was born in St. Francis and grew up in West Hartford.
Are you Connard or Hall guy?
Well, they sent me out. I did boarding school. So
Where'd you go?
I went to Trinity Pauling, New York.
Oh,
okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I went to Loomis Chaffee.
Right there in town.
So
that was good. I was going to go to Kingswood, actually. The first plan was to go to Kingswood, and I said, nah, I got to get out of town. So.
the first house that I lived in was on a road called Fairfield Road, and my parents purchased the house from a family named the Titles, one David Title.
Oh.
So I feel like I've been following him because he went to Loomis Chaffee before me. I followed him there, and I guess I was supposed to become the head of the board the education department. But
did he? David Title?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Oh wow, interesting.
There.
I don't know. I don't remember Fairfield Road. I don't. We were over off
small
Mountain Road.
Small street.
And, yeah. Okay.
This is off Mountain Road by that corner of Mountain? Yeah, but right by Albany Avenue there.
Sure. Yeah. We're up that way. You know where Westmont was? There's Westmont.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So we go right up Westmont, and then on the left there is a what was it? Middle Street, Middle Road. I guess Middle Road. Yeah. But that had they had all those houses there just below the reservoir and
Yep.
And the West Hartford there. All right, well, we're all connected.
Oh yeah.
I worked there.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, I worked at Main and on the right north 41 North Main Street, right next to that. It used to be a YMCA, I think, turned into a walk-in. Yeah.
Oh, in the town of West Hartford there? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds
small. A lot of derivatives trading.
Okay. But, enough of that.
Yeah, West Hartford's known for that.
Yeah, but they're doing some interesting things up there. I think to your point, John, there, if that's an area to at least investigate what they're doing there, that could be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
They are doing a lot, and also in street safety, and so they're forward thinking a little bit. Yeah. But hey, John, we should probably get Bob Wall from Sustainable Fairfield. He's an energy consultant, and he sort of runs. He's been the face of. I think he's chair of Sustainable Fairfield, and chair of their energy subcommittee. I don't know how active they are now, but they do like solar programs. It'd be interesting to see what they have on the docket, and we should probably get the. You've talked to him and I've talked to him, but what's Angelus for the schools and the other guy who's in charge of alternative energy for the town, like to come in and sort of give us an inventory of what they've done and what they've got on the docket.
Totally with you, Bill. That because we, the more info we can gather, it's going to make our life better, right? Because we don't want to be chasing our tail, and then the guy says, "Oh, we did that 2 years ago," and then
Right. Or if they did and we have a different angle on it, it would be good to know that, or just, shut it down. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like anything, information is power.
But my guess is they have people in charge of it, but it's like everything else. They're really, really busy, and this is kind of like it's like a side gig for them, like every once in a while. So they may not really be focused on it, but they do every once in a while pull projects off. Like they've done some good solar projects. So yeah.
Right. I don't want to be viewed as like a bad guy to them. I want to be more of a partner to them. Like if we can do some of the heavy lifting on some idea stuff that they're like, yeah, we'd love to do that, but we just, we don't have time or resources to figure any of that out. That would be great.
Well, like 6 months ago, Angeles was talking about doing an energy audit, like from for the schools, but I don't think he ever actually was able to get funding for that.
Okay. Well, maybe we can find some partner who will come in and do it for free, and with hopes of selling us something. Okay. All right. This has been great. What I would suggest maybe is, if you have additional ideas or thoughts, to send an email to me, and just to me. The reason why I say that is that I learned at one other meeting, I guess it was the waste, the whatchamacallit, the pollution control people, that if you send an email to everybody, it constitutes a meeting. And so rather than having to worry about that, if you just send it to me and then we can put it on an agenda or talk about it offline or whatever, maybe that's the best way to do things.
Can I ask if you could, somebody send me a list of the following people and the spelling of their names so that I get it right in the notes for the meeting, the minutes. Gary Sassy, I know Peter Millman, Michael Ewell, Angeles. I know they're with the town, but it would just make my life easier if you wouldn't mind forwarding. And then Bob Wall, that would be great.
That's very good, Michelle. Keep it accurate.
Yeah. It looks to me like there's a bunch of information gathering that we can figure out who we can bring in to speak to the different elements, and possibly research we can undertake on our own. And this is what I wrote down, having listened to everyone. So part one is sort of getting a sense of where we are right now. And that's broken into sort of two groups. One is what is Fairfield's own inventory and some of the internal goals that have been set both by the town employees that are engaged in the work, and also our Sustainable Fairfield Committee, in particular the Energy Subcommittee. So get a sense of where we are and get a sense of what are current options that are available for cost savings to both potentially residents and the town. Just what is already out there that we may or may not be taking advantage of. So that's the first phase, which is what is happening now. The second is we have 4 options that we want to bring in experts and possibly do our own research on to explore. Each of these options we're looking at through the lens of a cost-benefit analysis, resiliency, green environmental impact, and I added another one based on some of the conversations we were having, which is what are local and state examples of work being done in these, so we can see maybe a track record or find, local partners in the work. So you had mentioned West Hartford, and I want to throw out the city of Groton as well, that actually owns it's the energy there is municipally owned.
Right. Right. Yep.
So the four that we're going to explore is community energy aggregation, network geothermal, microgrids, and anaerobic digestion. And that's what I have.
Wow, that's a great summation.
That's excellent. You're hired.
Yeah.
Aren't I just the best secretary ever?
Boy, we picked the right person.
But
Cool.
the list, that last list is just, that's the opening salvo, right? That's going to grow.
Certainly.
Yeah,
I mean, I imagine we'll find other things.
I'm sorry,
and we
what
may
was that?
find that some of these things don't work for us.
Right.
Yeah.
You said, I'm sorry, could you say that again? Is it geothermal, network geothermal, microgrids, community energy aggregation?
And anaerobic digestion.
Right. We probably also need to get an understanding of why, there was a moratorium on solar for a while because of some concern over the calculation. We really haven't had a solar. I think the town put a stop to it for like the last year for some reason. So we need to know why, I guess. But I think Bob Wall probably knows more about that. And then there's also
maybe that's part of the inventory.
Correct. It's also, remember, it'll be a combination of what, as a town, what is our inventory, and what's the state of things in terms of the town having potentially set goals, or, to your point, Bill, established a moratorium, or what are they looking at strategically will be part of that conversation of getting a sense of where we are right now.
Right. And I guess ultimately we're going to have to. I mean, I'd love to learn about heat pumps and fuel cells as well.
Yeah.
I can add that. So the fifth one is fuel cells and heat pumps. Or are those two separate things?
They're two separate, yeah.
Okay. So now we have 6 areas of exploration. We added fuel cells and heat pumps to the list.
I think we might find that the heat pumps are part of the thermal.
Geothermal?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Could be. Yeah.
Okay. With a maybe it goes under geothermal. Okay.
Geothermal / heat pumps.
Yep.
And I guess at some point, pretty early on, we can start sort of fleshing out what a presentation skeleton, and then just to give us some structure,
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Uh-oh, my dog's cooking.
Uh-oh.
What did she do?
Eat your dinner.
All right, we good? I think this is a great start.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very happy with this. Anybody have anything before I ask for a motion to adjourn?
The one thing I would add, not that we necessarily have to figure it out now, and Bill kind of alluded to it, is to decide on sort of a structure of how to proceed. Like, if the format is we tackle each of these sort of we have information sessions on each of these things, who we would invite to provide information, and have a clear sort of agenda as to what we're expecting to accomplish. So this was something we talked about already, which in terms of each of the the 5 that we're exploring, we're asking the same questions, and then where the lay of the land is just the lay of the land. So I think if we say we're going to have, we could potentially have at maybe 1 overview of where we are, maybe 2, because remember it's an inventory, what's happening in Fairfield, and the other one is what are current options available to us. So that potentially could be 2 information sessions, 1 on state of things, 2 on what are options currently available, and then another 5 that are on each of these possible initiatives that we're exploring. So that brings us to a total potentially of a max of 7 information sessions with speakers.
I mean, honestly, like this, we would probably hope to get someone from the state to present to us about like funding grants and things like that, and you know what their goals are. I don't know. I mean, you know, they are making a lot of grants for energy initiatives.
I suspect that some of these people, I'm pretty certain I know that some of these people may be able to speak to that, like Peter Milliman, Gary Sassy, may be able to, tell us what,
That's true.
Something about some of the programs.
The other thing.
Sorry, Michelle, go ahead.
I was just going to say the other thing is that if we set up a schedule, we could even reach out to state agencies, and they could either present, or they could even offer slides for each of, slides that bullet out programs that are specific to each of the discrete initiatives that we're exploring.
Yeah, I'm not sure they'll have anything on, they were negative on the CCA the last go round. I'm not sure they have anything on, I don't know, on thermal grids.
Oh, you know what? Maybe what we can do is, how we have these 4 questions that we're asking? We could add a 5th question, which is what has to happen to execute, right? So part of it there might have to be policy change, like enabling legislation. Some of it, we'll look at that. We'll look at funding, like how do you manage the cost? So that'll be like another lens that we're looking at each of these solutions, because we may find that one of them, has a really high hurdle when it comes to having to make, legislative change. And something else may have a lower bar as far as that's concerned, but it's super expensive. So we'll add that to our the things that we're judging each of these possible initiatives on.
Awesome.
That sounds good.
Good. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. And John, like it would be. Sustainable Fairfield people can always get the information, but we ought to be thinking of them. Like, if you send out the agenda, you might want to copy like Bob Wall and Mary Hogue, or no, really not Mary Hogue. Would be Bob Wall on energy stuff. So he should listen in to this stuff.
Yeah, I clearly did a great job of distributing this information this time. I'll see about. I'll try and be better about, or try and get the town to be better about putting stuff out there, and I'll be happy to reach out to anybody individually to invite them along as well.
I mean, it's he should think of himself as like a non-member member. Like he should be on all the calls. Yeah.
I'm sure that he's got a lot of insight and information that'd be very valuable to us.
And also, everyone and their mother's going to ask you, did you bring in sustainable Fairfield?
Right.
That's the bigger thing is like, you know, if you talk to Tony Huang, who does some of this stuff, he's going to, did you bring it? You know, so you want to be able to say yeah on that.
Right.
But they will help as well. They definitely will.
Sorry, Bill. So that Bob Wall is with Sustainable Fairfield? That's his?
Yeah, so he is I think he's one of the founders. He, like Mary Hogue and him, have been running this for a long time, and it's a pretty big group that you can look at. You can look them up on the town website. It's like a quasi commission. You know, I don't think there's any hurdles to joining. Like they're not appointed, but they are partially supported by the town.
And it's called Sustainable Fairfield.
It's called Sustainable Fairfield, and they've got a line to they present to the Board of Selectmen. They have presented to the RTM, but they also are aligned with Sustainable Connecticut, which is state. And they run a lot of these programs, like solar programs. They do solar programs for like people like who are struggling, you know, and to pay their heating bills and stuff like that, and electricity
need assistance. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think he I think would be a good source for some of the stuff we were talking about earlier, Peter. The individual purchasing, or who you use to be your marketer, that kind of thing. I think they know a lot about that kind of stuff.
All right.
Oh yeah, the Sustainable Fairfield Task Force. So on the website, it's like you go to SFTF under
All right, I'll find it. All right, if I can, I'll reach out to you.
All right.
That'd be interesting to learn about what they're doing. Yeah, like you say. Okay, that's good.
All right.
All right. So would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
I will
Am
second
I
that.
supposed to ask that? Okay. All those in favor of adjourning?
Wait. I got to write this down. I'm the secretary, for goodness sakes. Who made the motion to adjourn?
I think you did.
Oh, you did.
You did.
No, I asked if anyone wanted. Yes, okay, I will. I made the motion to adjourn. Who seconded?
Peter.
Bill?
Peter got that.
I'll second it.
We all seconded.
Okay, and then you know what? I don't think, because I wasn't secretary at the time. I'm just going to say the officers were voted in. I'm sorry, I'm not going to be that particular. Do I have to be that particular? Should I be that particular? Who made the motion to nominate? I think Peter nominated John, made the motion.
You seconded.
Hold on, wait 1 second. Let me just put John, Peter 1, Bill 2, and then vice chair.
You nominated Peter.
I did? Okay, me.
You did. Bill seconded.
Peter, Bill 2. And then secretary.
Bill nominated you.
Bill 1.
I seconded.
John 2. Okay, great. So I'm good. Meeting is adjourned as far as I'm concerned.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
So,
This is awesome.
We'll meet again on the 21st.
Sounds great. Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
All right.